Yes, welcome everybody. Welcome to this webinar on motherly peacemaking. The planning for this was initiated some time ago, before we knew that the ailing 82-year-old IAAP founder, Dr. Hak Ja Han, would spend this time in a government prison cell in Korea, not convicted of any crime. For you who are not familiar with that situation, you can see the link posted in the chat. Yet that makes this topic today even more pertinent. The question is, how can we transition from the current hard power and governmental oppression to a way of relating through soft power, a way of compassion, a way of love, going beyond the popular pits of accusations, resentment, and revenge? To help on this momentous journey is our panel, and of course our MC, Angelica Brzezinski, Director of Special Projects at the HJ International Graduate School for Peace and Public Leadership. Her bio is posted in the chat. So now I would like to kindly ask you to kindly welcome Angelica Brzezinski to be our MC. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Berg, and greetings, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to be here with you today as the MC for this International Association for Academicians for Peace event. We surely have an outstanding lineup of speakers today, and I'm eager to hear their perspectives on this crucial and timely topic of motherly peacemaking. Just before we begin, we would love for this to be an interactive session, so please feel free to use the chat box at any time to drop in your questions for the panelists as the presentations proceed, and we'll gather them for the Q&A segment at the end of the program. So to begin our program, I am delighted to introduce a former colleague and also someone who inspired me to lead a women's group in my own community, Dr. Katerina Connery. You can turn to the chat for her bio. Dr. Connery is the president of Women's Federation for World Peace USA. Prior to this, she served as a vice president for over a decade, a role she was appointed to by WFWP founder, Dr. Hak Ja Han. And earlier this year, Dr. Connery completed her Doctor of Ministry from HJ International Graduate School. And she also manages the most important job of being a wonderful mother to her 3 children. So without further delay, let's hear from Dr. Connery.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Angelica, for that introduction. And thank you, Dr. Berg, for organizing this webinar. Today's theme of motherly peacemaking, I think, is very interesting. I'm excited to be part of this conversation, and I'm looking forward to the ideas that come up from our panelists, from our other panelists, and from all of you, the participants. And I hope the discussion will continue after this webinar. In many ways, I feel like we're hitting a wall in terms of peacemaking, peace building, and we need new perspectives and new insights and ways of doing things. In Women's Federation, our founder, Dr. Hak Ja Han, has spoken about the special role of mothers in giving birth and nurturing the future generations. In a very important way, women, mothers have such power to influence the future, right? If we need more peaceful, compassionate, giving, respectful, moral people in our world, then it starts right there at home. And mothers, in both positive and negative ways, have a central role in guiding and raising our families. But in emphasizing motherhood, we would think that, well, okay, that means that women need to stay at home and that's where we belong and we only belong there and there needs to be a traditional division of labor. I don't think that's it at all. And Dr. Han, she has also advocated that a womanly touch and women's voices need to be felt and heard and seen in peacemaking today, in complementary roles and perspectives as men. And for example, she says in her memoir, the world of the future can be a world of reconciliation and peace, but only if it is based on the maternal love and affection of women. This is the true power of womanhood. The time has come for the power of true womanhood to save the world. Studies show that when women are involved, not taking over or pushing men out, but involved in peacemaking efforts and making peace deals, the likelihood of implementation and the longevity of those peace deals, they goes up. So what is it particularly about a motherly heart or the maternal love and affection that Dr. Han talks about that is so important? There are specific patterns and ways of thinking and ways of interpreting the world, which arise out of the work of mothering. And I think these perspectives can be very beneficial to peacemaking efforts, both on the interpersonal level, on the family level, community level, up to the global level. So there are many aspects of motherhood, and I'm not going to be able to get into all of them in the next 5 minutes. So I just wanted to highlight one important area, which is unique to mothers. So first, a mother is the one who takes a seed, a spark of life, holds it, embraces it, expands it until 9 months later, you have a new life. A life that never existed before, a new and unique individual. This creative energy, this creative potential is amazing. We don't give it enough credit, I think. It is a woman's womb that creates a space for a new life to be born. And what does a womb do? It expands, it stretches, it makes space for another life to exist and grow and flourish. The mother's organs rearrange to make space for this life. And when it's time for the baby to be born, the womb contracts. The mother and the child, it's a difficult ordeal giving birth. And maybe from the baby's perspective, the baby thinks, I'm being ripped away from everything I know. But from the mother's perspective, she knows that I'm here with you and it's going to be okay because I know other women have done this before me and we're going through this together. Father Moon and Mother Han have talked about frequently that 99.999% of our essence comes from the blood and bone and flesh of our mothers, and 0.001% is from our fathers. But the interesting thing, and I think an amazing thing, is that when you look at our DNA, 50% is from our father and 50% is from our mother, right? When the child is born, the mother and father can share in equal joy. Even if the contribution is different, we share in the joy of the new life that was created. And it brings you closer as a couple. So I believe this points to women's unique capacity to hold a space for others to grow and flourish. We stretch, we expand our hearts so that others can feel embraced and seen and understood. When it's time for transformation, when it's time to change, the old ways can't continue. It's time for the baby to be born. There's a willingness in the maternal love and the maternal heart to suffer together. We're going through this together and it's going to be okay. You're not alone. Actually, the mother can't go anywhere. You have to be right there with the child. Change is hard, even if it's for the better, it's hard. And the maternal heart, I think, has the capacity to take even the smallest contribution and elevate it and expand it so that we can share in equal joy in what we created together. So imagine if we took these perspectives into how we create peace deals, for example. When parties come to the table for peace talks, many times it's not with goodwill and love in their hearts. Like, I love this other party so much. I want to create peace with them. Usually there's a lot of resentment and anger and pain and hatred and trauma, and even just an exhaustion of the ways things have been, right? Many times the desire for peace doesn't arise out of benevolence for the other side. It comes out of, we're exhausted of all the killing and violence. So when we think, in this environment of the different perspectives, the different experiences, they all need to be held and understood and seen so that we can all move forward and grow together. If one side or the other side is more concerned about, well, you did this to us, and we suffered more than you did, then we're not really going to get anywhere. We need the ability to expand our hearts, stretch ourselves, include the other, just like in the womb stretches to include the other. The womb is safe and nurturing. So in a peace process, a deal, of course, we have to come to a deal. We have to come to an agreement. But in the process of getting there, how can we create a space where those involved feel they are safe, they're cared for, they're also being nurtured? Because it's not real peace if it's imposed or certain groups have to stay silent in order to keep the peace. So if we consider, how to create those spaces for those different perspectives, hold them, also grow. We can't stay where we are. How would that change the way we approach peace? And even in creating treaties or agreements, even a small contribution needs to be elevated and honored, even the 0.001%. So these are just a few ideas and thoughts that came to me in preparing for today. There's a lot more to talk about. Once the baby is born, there's a lot to do in mothering, growing it from infancy into adulthood. So, and then there are also different ways of thinking that mothers develop in doing that work. So I thank you for your kind attention, and I really look forward to hearing from our next panelists. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Connery, for those invaluable reflections. As you said, women and mothers surely have a unique and special power to influence the future, starting at the home and within their own families, and in a way for everyone to share in that joy. As a reminder, please take a moment to submit your questions in the chat box to be addressed at the end. We'll now turn to our next speaker, who is a valued colleague from HJ International Graduate School, Dr. Andrew Wilson. His full bio is posted in the chat box. Dr. Wilson is a prolific scholar whose books and papers cover diverse topics ranging from religion and peace to character education. He also teaches in the area of feminist theology, especially on relating to God as Heavenly Mother and in defense of Dr. Hak Ja Han's leadership. So let's welcome Dr. Wilson.
Thank you. Thank you, Angelica. Let me see if I can share my screen here. Okay. Good. I have a little PowerPoint presentation. Which I call motherly peace. It's my contribution to motherly peace making. So after birth, which Katerina expressed so well, a mother's heart goes out to all her children. Even the weakest and the smallest child receives a mother's love, and a mother wants to fill in for her child's weakness. For instance, I have a daughter who has a disability, and I know that my wife is thinking about her and caring about her the most of any of the children in my family. A lot of times fathers are looking for the most successful child, looking to encourage talent, but to a mother, no one is without love, no matter whether they're strong or weak, whether they have talent or seem to have little talent, whether they're intelligent or relatively dull. Mothers encourage those children that are most beaten down and most struggling with issues of self-worth and self-confidence and things like that. And mothers are willing to forgive. We know in the True Family, it was mother who forgave some of the true children when they made a mistake and were willing to give them new chances. Mother's heart is more open to forgiveness and second chances because mothers understand that just as their child grew for 9 months in the womb, everyone has to grow. And people can reach their potential at different times. So mothers are patient with their children, even those who are stuck in immaturity. So what does that look at True Mother as an example of that? When she began her public ministry, her first love was to the people of Africa. She went to Gorée Island and prayed for all of the spiritual world of people who were enslaved. And then she befriends an African leader, Macky Sall, and then a Cambodian leader, a communist, Hun Sen, which shows that the heart of Heavenly Mother, embodied in True Mother, cares for all nations and all societies as her own children, and every nation can become a heavenly nation. She does not judge the nations for their past faults, or say, for instance, that Cambodia, because of the horrors of the massacres of a few decades ago, should have to pay indemnity or something like that before it can be accepted. No, all nations, even the most despicable nations in terms of their past, can be embraced in mother's love. And because there's a future that we can share, in which all of those past problems can recede into the distance. This is again goes back to Katerina's point about not holding grudges and looking forward instead of seeking to settle old scores. I think we're freed up to do that more under mother's leadership and in the future as we come to know in our own hearts the power and value of Heavenly Mother's side of God. So this has to do also with the concept of chosen people, which is a concept in restoration that developed out of attending Heavenly Father. So the people who received God's most historical investment, the Jewish people, Christianity, and the Korean people, they are the ones who are especially privileged, and we're especially honored, perhaps. But from the point of view of a mother, they are the ones who should be giving the most, and they should not be just living for themselves, but they should be living for all God's children. So America, as the elder son nation, should know Mother God's heart for the world and practice it to love the world and not get stuck on America first. That's very immature behavior, America first. And the Israelis, they should, as a chosen nation, understand Mother God's heart for the suffering of Arab children in Gaza, and they should let go of the vengeance that they feel for October 7th. But as long as they're stuck in the concept, the self-concept that, oh, we're special, we're chosen, therefore our value as Israelis is greater than the value of Arabs, who are like lower level beings, that's not going to work. But it's a mother's love that that values the younger, that values the weaker, that values the disfavored. And we all have to learn that heart of a mother. And we can talk about Korea as well. So, part of the problem is that the regime of human societies built on Heavenly Father is, we call patriarchy. And patriarchy has certain standards, like the importance of lineage, the importance of the firstborn, and things like that. Mothers in the world have had to live in a man's world. It is the men and patriarchy that have defined the norms and values and what is right and wrong in a mother's or in a woman's life based on living up to the standards set by men. This might have been appropriate role for mothers in the era of Heavenly Father's time, but now is the time of Heavenly Parent, when God can manifest as Heavenly Mother, and therefore the authority the authority of the mother should be equal to the authority of the father, and therefore patriarchy needs to be questioned. Some of the basic principles that people take for granted under the patriarchy need to be questioned, like the importance of lineage and the firstborn, which was unquestioned in the providence of restoration. Abraham's family, Cain and Abel, it's all about establishing lineage. It's all about establishing who is the firstborn. Poor Rebecca, she was constrained by the patriarchal paradigm. And when she saw promise in her secondborn, Jacob, she had to plot and scheme to try to get Jacob the respect that she knew he deserved. But, her husband Isaac was not so clued in on this. Or maybe he was. Maybe Isaac understood what Rebecca was doing and played along with it. We don't really know. The Bible says he was tricked. Maybe he knew. But it was difficult for Rebecca to act on her natural heart in the midst of that patriarchal society. And the result, of course, was very difficult for Jacob, who had to endure his brother Esau's wrath and had to flee. So living as a good woman, as a godly woman, within the confines of patriarchy has been difficult. Consider how the Bible and how history could have turned out, or could still turn out in the future, if people can put patriarchy aside. We know in Abraham's family, Abraham's wives Sarah and Hagar struggled over lineage, and you had the problem between Isaac and Ishmael, which ended up today in the conflict between the Jews and the Muslims, or the Israelis and the Palestinians. It all started there, back in Abraham's family. If Heavenly Mother were expressed and was known at that time, so that people in Abraham's family could have the heart of Heavenly Mother, then each of those beautiful women of faith, Sarah and Hagar, could have the attitude, I want to care for all my husband's children, not only for my son Isaac, but also for my son-in-law Ishmael, and likewise Hagar. I care not only for my own son Ishmael, but also for my son-in-law, or half son, or whatever the position is. I don't know if I've got the name right. Isaac. Today we have modern blended families where this kind of situation exists in many places, where you have one father and two mothers and children from both mothers, either from a divorce or from an affair or from something else. And a lot of those blended families are learning to live together in harmony as a family unit, in spite of the traditional norms. And these modern blended families could have been an example, could be an example for Abraham and Sarah and Hagar to form a blended family in which Isaac and Ishmael would have seen each other truly as brothers, and even Sarah and Hagar could see each other truly as sisters, even though they loved the same husband. So when we talk about reconciling Jacob and Esau, or Isaac and Ishmael, it wouldn't have to be on the patriarchal providential paradigm of Cain and Abel, but it could be by the mother's touch, by the mothers, Sarah and Hagar in this case, loving each other and loving each other's children. And in that love, the patriarchal paradigm becomes irrelevant and disappears. That's the kind of thing that can happen now that couldn't happen before, when we were firmly immersed in Heavenly Father's providence. But now the world has changed. On the basis of Foundation Day and True Mother's proclamation that God is not only Heavenly Mother, but also, Heavenly Father, but also Heavenly Parent, which includes Heavenly Mother, there is now room for the means of reconciliation centering on God to be much broader and can operate in a mother's way as well as a father's way. And the patriarchal concept of lineage can be less important. I'm going to see, is that the end? Yes, that I think is the end of my presentation. And I know I threw out a lot of ideas in a very short time, but these are some things we could talk about further in the discussion. Thank you.
Great, fantastic. Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Thank you for reminding us of the really boundless depths of a mother's love, and also in reminding us of the ways in which Dr. Han also embodies this heart to embrace everyone in the world. As we go to our next speaker, feel free to drop your questions in the chat box at any time. Our final speaker is someone who I actually grew up with and is like an auntie to me. I've really admired her leadership throughout the years, Dr. Linda Nishikawa. Again, you can see the chat box for her bio. Dr. Nishikawa is a descendant of Cochiti Pueblo and is intimately involved in Native American affairs, founding the United Native American Council in 1984. She also founded Sacred First Nations for Peace in 2023 as an intertribal organization to empower and uplift the traditions and culture of Indigenous family values in collaboration with non-Native organizations and programs. So please join me in welcoming another incredible mother, Dr. Nishikawa.
Thank you so much, my dear Angelica, for that beautiful introduction, and also to my esteemed colleagues for their presentation. I'd like to thank all the people who have invited me to present. And with that, I'd like to do my presentation. Can you see the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. So Sacred First Nations for Peace model is one God, one home, one family, which is very pertinent to motherly peacemaking. On the right is one of my favorite pictures of Sacagawea, who was instrumental not only in saving the all the material that Lewis and Clark had. She saved it from the river, and she was an extreme guide. She helped them not go through the wilderness, but go through the backyard of about 20 plus Native American tribes safely for her mere presence as mother. She took care of her child Baptiste 24/7 as she guided them. And I just felt like, just her presence is motherly peacemaking. And I'd like to expound also on the work of Dr. Connery, who spoke very eloquently. We are the life givers. We are, in expounding those two words, motherly and peacemaking, we are the life givers. We have the courage to take on that responsibility. Even that one sentence is very much valued in all tribes. Intertribally, Native women are very valued for that very sentence. And as mothers, we are innate peacemakers in our families, tribes, nations, and the world. And we began our lives, each one of us, our first sound is the heartbeat of our mother. We are the ones that are one with her. We're one with her in her emotion, mood, and sensitivity. So it's so important to take care of mothers when they're pregnant. They are the first teachers, storytellers. They tell us about hygiene. They're our confidence. They're our religious educators, our safety patrol guards. They cook the best meals we'll love throughout all our life. They're the peacemakers of our family. they are confidants with our relatives. We can share with them about our school friends, workplaces, and throughout our life, in the world in general. Mothers are peacemakers for sacred healing. Sorry, let me move this down or up. And they always create renewal. They are the harmony keepers. Throughout our life, we need our mothers, and I want to say forever. Yes, forever, we need our mothers. I want to move it forward. For some reason, not able to move it forward. Well, let me just get out. Okay, it's kind of stuck here. Okay. I don't know why it's stuck, but I'm going to try to share my screen again. And I apologize for that. It's not letting me move forward for some reason.
Are you able to use the arrow keys to advance the slides?
I am trying to use the arrow keys to advance the slides and the enter key. So I will try to go back. Oh, there it is. Okay, thank you. Excuse me for that interruption. So in my culture, storytellers are the motherly peacemakers. And it's just continuous. I think throughout the world we have storytellers. Storytellers are people who create a lot of peacemaking in their stories. And I have a uncle who could tell a story for more than a week. It just keeps the children like, oh, I need to know more. It's like a book that's being read to them. And in stories, people learn about God. They learn about their culture, their traditions, and they learn about other people in the world. They learn about all living things and how we're related to them, and how some things are similar to humanity, and how some character is that we want to have the braveness of a bear. We want to have that keenness of an eagle. And there's so much to learn in storytelling and how to tell a story. But I think more importantly is to learn the respect, love, forgiveness, and patience, self-sacrifice, responsibility, courage, and on and on. And also the rites of passages. But also it helps children to feel and helps them to find direction, belonging, safety, pride, and love. And it is the wing underneath our wings when our mothers tell us stories. Other qualities of motherly peacemaking is that mothers, we have this innate wanting to make sure everybody is fed, everybody is comfortable. And there's a great pride when a good meal is served. But taking into account actually that this child, this son is someone's son who I'm sending out to war. And I know of a woman whose son passed away in war and actually was so depressed, she never got out of bed again. She died in bed through depression because of that son. So that is the value that women have with their child. And actually, every son and daughter belongs to God ultimately. So we need to reach that peaceful solution for everyone, in which everyone is satisfied and cared for, nurturing all towards well-being, self-sacrificing for the needs of others. I think mothers are the silent peacekeepers who will self-sacrifice everything so that peace and harmony takes place. Understanding the importance of reconciliation, understanding the importance of dialogue, the power of repentance and forgiveness, to be empathetic and understanding of all the characters or that mother is involved with, whether it's, leadership or just being a housewife. I think every woman is a leader. And it's through her kindness that trust is earned and trust is developed. One feels fully understood, seen, validated, and encouraged to engage more towards peaceful dialogue, to be encouraged to become what they need to become, what they're called to do in this earth and in this journey. And it's the behaviors towards resolution or resolutions and healing, gaining holistic health and well-being. And there's such much more about the qualities of motherly peacemaking. I could go for weeks, maybe not weeks, but there's so much more. And because of time, I cannot say enough about the seventh generation mindset and the clans mothers, the unity with the clans mothers and what they created and what they still create with Iroquois Confederacy. And I guess that's your homework, is just go and research that. It's incredible how women, they chose the chiefs. They chose who's going to work here and who's going to do this and who's going to prepare this and who's going to celebrate this. And they governed their tribes. It was not patriarchal, it was a matriarchal in leadership. And it was very much children focused. So it was very much wanting the children to have everything they need so that they can prosper and that they can achieve what they need to achieve. So motherly peacemaking is complete through decision making and caring deeply for the future and impact of the descendants. And more importantly, very importantly, equally importantly, is Mother Earth's sustainability, to walk with a light print. And peacemaking is achieved through consensus of the whole, and everyone is acknowledged. They must find their participation where it's needed and understood and how valuable they are in that participation, so that the agreements are lasting, they're not temporary. So motherly peacemaking is continuous within each generation and facilitated through sweetness. I'll say sweetness. I'll say nurturing, caring, motherly. Most important is food. Everybody needs like 3 meals a day of good food and celebration and entertainment. Mothers make beautiful environments, comfortable environments, and joy where people feel comfortable to participate. There's so much more I could say about this. But the broad strokes are prayer. Prayer, I think women pray a lot. They pray when they're making food. They pray when they're washing the clothes. They're just always thinking of God to ask for prayers for their loved ones, for their relatives, for the world, for presidents. Mothers are constantly praying. It's generational patience. Generational means that this important thing of peacemaking needs to be generational. It's patience, gratitude, humility, unity, and comprehensive. Of course, it's nonviolent, and it's respect. It's respect to get even that child that doesn't talk so much, to get their input, to see what they're thinking, to draw them out. And the very fact that we are all connected, and this is very intertribal concept, but very important in peacemaking, that we are all interconnected. We're one family. We are all relatives. And the concept of gratitude and celebrating, and the concept of humility first to God, who is the creator of all things, who is the creator of you and I. We did not create humanity. We did not create ourselves. Our I guess our filial piety to our ancestors, and that love that we have, that accountability that they're very much with us. I think First Nations people, Indigenous people of this country are the ancestors of this continent. And we have great value for the ancestors, for those who've lived on, and I think there's more ancestors or Native Americans in America. That's why we should really have such a great respect for the ancestors of First Nations and for each other, because that's what they taught us. And for me, Heavenly Mother is long suffering. When we say Heavenly Mother, it's the concept of God, because God is not only male, but he's female. And he's a parent. God is a parent. He's a great spirit. He's the creator of everything that breathes, everything that is in this life and onwards in our next journey. And Heavenly Mother is long suffering and has humility, and it's underscored that it's unconditional giving. It's just giving and giving and giving and giving. It's like, oh no, I made dinner yesterday. I'm not going to make dinner today. No, you just give and give and give. It's gifting constantly. It's constant forgiveness, enduring the very worst, unconditional love of humanity, faith in her sons and daughters, and creating a lasting harmony and eternal peace for all of us. I think this is our long yearning for the kingdom of heaven and earth. And Dr. Hak Ja Han Moon, Holy Mother Han, is the embodiment of the Heavenly Mother. She is the peacemaker. And it's not just, she's not saying it's just me. I want all of us to become peacemakers. I want every single person to resemble our Creator, Heavenly Parent, Heavenly Mother. We all must all take up that challenge every day with gratitude. And my last slide, I just want to say that is our lasting prayer and hope. And it is all the very deepest part of any mother is to have of the kingdom of heaven on earth, to have peace. Motherly peacemaking is a time that we all have been waiting for, a time that we can rest within the assurance that we take care of each other and can find rest, harmony, and peace, that others are taking care of us. Embracing world's knowledge of every human being. We need to learn about other people and what they think and their culture and their ways, and how are they intricate individual truth bodies? How are they intricate and precious to the Creator and have eternal value? And when we have that concept, we can lead. I've always feel the last frontier is the unity between men and women. And it's that unity of leadership. It's that unity of making this incredible dream that so many people, it's our kind of our eternal wish. And here it is. This is a prophet, crazy horse, Lakota. I see a time of 7 generations when all the colors of mankind will gather under the sacred tree of life, and the whole world will become one circle again. Yes, this is heavenly peacemaking. This is where we're going. And the beauty of motherly peacemaking is constant, continuous, and endless. Metake yo yase. Thank you. All my relations.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nishikawa, for those beautiful reflections, and also the emphasis on mothers as really life givers and as nurturers, and also how they create peace and teach values even through storytelling and really importantly through prayer. So thank you so much. We will now begin our Q&A with the panelists. So we'll turn to the chat box and we can bring everyone up. The first question I see here is, how can the concept of Heavenly Mother's love or matriarchal family be concretely and precisely introduced to the people of the Middle East in order to reduce the conflict between Israel and Gaza, also for Russia, Ukraine, North and South Korea, those types of conflict-ridden zones?
Well, if I may say something.
Yes, please.
I believe that in the spiritual world, there's also already a lot of work that is happening now to reconcile Abraham with his wives, Sarah, Hagar, and Keturah, and their as sisters, Hagar, Sarah, Keturah, three women, sisters, with the same love of Heavenly Mother flowing through their hearts, and able to bring that same love of Heavenly Mother to all 8 of Abraham's children. Because Keturah had, I think, 5 children or 6 children. And then you have Hagar and Sarah with 1 each. So that makes 8. Okay, so that's like a spiritual background that's opening up now as a result of all of the victories that true parents have done to defeat Satan and establish Chanil Guk. This kind of flow of energy is possible now in the spiritual world, which means on earth, it should be more and more possible for Israeli women and Palestinian women to develop sisterly relations and develop organizations of Israeli women and Palestinian women coming together around the banner of peace, or coming together around the banner of not wanting their children to die in war, for there to continue to be needless suffering and grief to the women who are the ones who suffer the most from war. And I think that politically, it is important for women to be elected to high office in Israel and among the Palestinians. I want to see a woman become president of Israel, replacing Netanyahu. I want to see a woman become the leader of the Palestinian Authority. I want to see women who can embody this heart, demonstrating that kind of a new kind of leadership based upon Heavenly Mother's love. Then I think it will be possible for a lot of things to change. Getting there is going to be a process. At least the husbands of these women who are leading this country need to listen to their wives instead of just joining together as men to make all the decisions based upon the old-fashioned view of Jewish superiority as the chosen people, or Palestinian pride as Arabs, as the original ancestors of the land. Getting beyond all those rationalizations, I think it should be possible. And I think the same between Russia and Ukraine. There need to be councils of Russian women and Ukrainian women. Many of these families in Russia and Ukraine, they're all interconnected. They have family members on both sides. Let's see some women leadership to reconstruct a harmonious community of people living in that part of the world. I think it will happen. I don't know the steps that it will take to make that happen, but I think we need to start that process. I think that the Women's Federation will have a great role to play in bringing that process forward.
Thank you. Dr. Nishikawa or Dr. Connery, would you like to add anything?
No, I support what Dr. Wilson said. I agree. More women in positions of influence, and then also women, connecting together across these divides, and sharing at heart, getting to know each other so that they can, influence the men in their lives, and the men listen to your wives. And yeah, I definitely support that.
I concur with both my colleagues. I think there needs to be more platforms for women in this area of conflict in which they can share their viewpoints and resolution and unity. And I was there at the Peace Park. It was the largest peace gathering in Jerusalem. And it was incredible to see that peace park there. And I really feel more of that needs to happen. More dialogue with the women, maybe not necessarily through political venues, but other ways in which they can say their ideas, they can expound what their resolutions are, in which way they can negotiate the peace in their area of Palestine and Israel. I really feel women sometimes are not allowed to speak and are not invited. And as an Indigenous woman, that has happened to me many, many times. No matter I have, no matter what, it's like they're shut out, they're closed out, and more avenues needs to happen where women can speak because the world needs for them to speak. The answers must come from that area. They must come from that area of North Korea. Those women definitely need to speak. And for me, there is a special temple, the Chanyeol Sanctum, that Dr. Hak Ja Han created, not just for one religion, but for all the people in the world. And there was an incredible prayer made, and I'm truly grateful for Dr. Jackson, who was the central figure for Christianity, who did a prayer of repentance on behalf of the US government, on behalf of what has happened to First Nations, Indigenous people in America. And because of that repentant and forgiveness prayer done right there, it has benefited not only America, but the world. So great things are yet to happen. You know, Dr. Hak Ja Han already proclaimed the kingdom of heaven and earth, Chanyeol Guk, 13 years ago. We must acquiesce to that time. We must live as that time is happening. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those important points. This next, oh yes, and thank you also, Dr. Grace Helver and Melissa Broso for those questions. Next is for Dr. Connery, but feel free to jump in. How would you suggest applying the idea and practice of making a space to the process of peace building globally or in our own local spheres?
Okay. So just a few ideas off the top of my head. I was jotting down earlier, trying to think of one, I think one very important thing is authentic listening skills. And, that's something that, especially those who are doing the mediating or the negotiating in a, peace building or involved in the peace building process, need to have that kind of training and be able to practice it on the ground practically. Many times when we listen to each other, we listen in order to start formulating our response, right? Or we listen in order to think about how we can correct the other person or bring up our own thing. But we have to listen to see their hearts, right? To really get to why they feel the way they feel. It's not about like saying this way is the right way and this way is the wrong way, and we have to decide. So that's why we're, discussing, but to really feel like, oh, that's why they feel this way and that's why they're responding this way. And understanding doesn't necessarily mean, agreeing with that viewpoint. I would say, like, also considering the physical space in which these things are happening. Is there like a womanly feminine touch? Like, how are you setting up food? Dr. Nishikawa talked about delicious food, having tea, something to nourish your body, to make people feel like, oh, someone is thinking about me and caring for me. How is everyone sitting? Like, what's the arrangement of the room of everyone discussing this peace agreement? And I would say, especially working with women who are mothers, we have to be very, very flexible, because motherly life can be demanding and we can't do as much. The men often can do so many things, doing 40-hour, 50-hour plus weeks of work, because they have a wife at home who's taking care of the kids and the home and all these things. But if you want to involve women and get the input of mothers, especially, we have to be very flexible and accommodating about timing and maybe adjusting. And yeah, I would say also like making spaces for people to connect heart to heart as human beings, as people. It's not just about getting the task done. Like, we have to make this agreement, we have to discuss all the issues. There's also, how can we create time and space for just connecting as human beings, where we can breathe, relax. There's not an agenda right now, and just accept and understand each other. So those are just a few initial ideas. Sure, there's more to be said. Yeah.
If I may say something, I have two experiences in Israel that come to my mind. The first was in 1980, when I was in the summer. I was a student at in Jerusalem, and I remember walking from the Mount Scopus, the dormitory where I was staying, down towards the main city, and I had to pass through an Arab village, and I remember feeling a lot of fear, like walking down that street, not knowing any of these people, not just thinking I'm a target, I'm a stranger, what's going to happen? And I was very much afraid. And then during the MEPI, I was on the delegation of ministers that went into Gaza. And it was wonderful to actually go into Gaza, go to a hotel, be hosted by leaders of Gaza, and visit some of the sites, some of the tragic places that were still bombed out, the tomb of one of I think his name was Sinwar, one of the founders of the Hamas. And being accompanied by machine gun toting Palestinians who were protecting us, protecting our group. And it was an experience. The first was a very disempowering experience, walking down that street in an Arab town. The second was a very empowering experience. I could feel the possibilities of really breaking through. And I think that the environment is so important. That's my point. It's not enough to go to conferences in hotel rooms in some exotic place like Seoul or New York or Bahamas or wherever. We have to actually go to each other's neighborhoods. We actually have to experience each other's cultures, because a lot of times the barriers between people are not simply religious or doctrinal, but they come from the cultures that have developed in these different places. So when Mother talks about environment, we need to think about the cultural environment that we live in, and we need to begin to experience each other's cultures and see the beauty in each other's cultures. Taste some of the food that the others cook, and see what's good. I have a Chinese wife, so I learned a lot of different kinds of Chinese food. And when I was in Gaza, I had some of the best tasting fish I've ever eaten, because the people of Gaza are great at preparing fresh fish. So I just have to say there are delights in a culture, and we have to start learning how to really swim in each other's culture.
Again, I concur with both my colleagues. I really enjoyed their answers. I feel it, you have to realize that everything the Creator made for your joy. Really, the purpose for life is joy. My missionary work in China and Russia and Jerusalem and many parts of the world, Canada, I found the beauty of the people and just sharing their food and listening to them. Like Dr. Connery said, you really have to listen to them because they want to give you the most precious thing of their culture and tradition. And Dr. Wilson, I really concur, and I just want to add to learn the history. Please learn the history of the ancestors of this continent. Please learn how God loved them in this land, how they've lived for and thrived for thousands and thousands of years and have lived here. There's over 1,000 tribes in Canada and America alone, and each has their own religion, their own culture, their own tradition. And it's a doorway of joy for you to learn. And I think the future is going to be very exciting if we can entice our young people to be open enough and really learn and love other people. That's how we're going to make one family. And then we can see so much commonality, so much similarity. And we can even see ourselves in Russia, North Korea, in Gaza. We can see ourselves there. Thank you.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you also, Dr. Silver, for your question. I see that we have surpassed the top of the hour. I apologize that we did not get to address all of your questions. In the interest of time, we would like to move into some closing statements now. So if you could all just please share your final thoughts for 1 minute each. We could go in the same order of the presentation, starting with Dr. Connery, followed by Dr. Wilson and Dr. Nishikawa.
Man, I didn't prepare closing statements, but this was a wonderful discussion, and I feel very hopeful that there are people like Dr. Wilson and Dr. Nishikawa and everyone here on this call today who are really thinking and exploring what does this really mean, motherly peacemaking, and bringing the feminine heart more into the world. And I feel like the important thing is also to remember it's not about like pushing out the fatherly or the masculine way. It's learning how to balance in harmony, because the honest reality is we need both, and we need them in working together in harmony. Yeah. So that's it. I feel hopeful and excited.
Thank you. Dr. Wilson?
We all need to look into what is my identity. Is my identity a Jew? Or is my identity a child of God? Why do so many Israelis not mourn and not get upset at the slaughter of the Palestinians and children and women in Gaza? It's because they see themselves as more valuable than the Palestinians, because their identity is as, we are the chosen of God. We are the ones whom God is looking at. Now, these other people, they're just interlopers. It's no different from the way the white Americans treated the Native Americans at Wounded Knee or at the Trail of Tears. They were nothing but, quote, savages, unquote. While we white Americans were the Christians who God had given this land to. We have these tribal identities that resonate deep in our souls, and they create a terrible block to really recognizing the humanity of the other. And I think it is through reconnecting to our heavenly parent, who is the parent of all, and who values every single human being, black, white, red, brown, green, whatever color they are, as children of the same parents and brothers and sisters. When we can raise up that consciousness, and we can get beyond, on a heart level, all of this prejudice that allows these wars and these killings and these massacres to continue. And I think this can happen facilitated by Heavenly Mother and Heavenly Mother's heart.
Thank you, Dr. Wilson. Dr. Nishikawa?
Yes, thank you. In closing, I just want more of this to happen. I think this is great. And we are, we're focused on motherly peacemaking, but um, I really think it's that combination, that head wing of a parent, of a couple, of a man and a woman leading, and also the unity of trying to make peace with the most peaceful type of couple and moving humanity forward. I am so moved when in my prayer I feel Heavenly Mother has confidence in us. God, the Great Spirit, has confidence in us that we will eventually see each other as precious, as beloved, and that we can make the kingdom of heaven and earth, which I believe we're living in at this time and age. I am in unity with Dr. Hak Ja Han. I really believe we're living at that time, and if we can pray for the conflicts that are happening all around us, but really that confidence that Heavenly Mother wants us to believe that we are children. We are children of the Creator. We are children. We are relatives. We can do this. We can do this, and that we can believe in each other's aspects, viewpoints, and paradigms on world peace. We can absolutely do this. And this is our eternal quest, whether it happens in my lifetime or not. I do feel that in my lifetime, I have experienced that in talking to other people. I believe there's more good people in this world. And I am so grateful and so joyful that that time will come to pass. And we need to move with that belief and see the cup half full all the time. So I'm grateful for this opportunity to share my viewpoint. And thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much to all of our exceptional panelists for sharing your wisdom and your heartfelt insights on motherly peacemaking. And also thank you to Dr. Berg for putting on this wonderful event together to highlight this key topic. As I saw in the chat, and as many of us probably feel, we need another session on this topic and to expand on it as well. And also thank you to our audience for joining this crucial conversation. Let's actively apply the great wisdom we've heard today to help build a peaceful reality on our Mother Earth. So thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Echo Angelica. Thank you all.
Thank
Thank you very much for coming. I'm so grateful I could participate.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all. Wonderful job, Angelica.
Thank you.
2 Angelicas are here. Oh. Amen.
Very good. Very inspiring. Thank you.
Thank you, EJ. Thank the person behind it all.
All right. You're welcome. I'm trying to end the session because I lost my host ability. Anyway, everybody can just leave.
Okay. Thank you, EJ. Okay.
Go back to my
See you next time. End of December, next IAAP webinar. Look forward to see you then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for everything.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. Should have said.
With the
Venturex card, you can enjoy easy-to-use premium benefits like a $300 annual Capital One travel credit when you book through Capital One Travel. Plus, you'll earn unlimited double points on every purchase with the Capital One Venturex card. What's in your wallet? Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details. In a city that never sleeps, Delta keeps pace, offering a premium travel experience that values your time. With non-stop flights to over 200 destinations worldwide, Delta connects New Yorkers to the world with ease, comfort, and sleep. So your travel time feels more like me time. Fly like a New Yorker. Fly Delta. Visit delta.com or download Delta's app to book your next trip.
Hear your favorite Broadway stars at Carnegie Hall. Don't miss performances by Shoshana Bean, Cheyenne Jackson, and Harry Connick Jr. Plus, the New York Times annual holiday concerts featuring Megan Hilty. Get tickets today at CarnegieHall.org.